fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The scent of old paper and bergamot hung in the air as I stepped into the Blackthorne writing retreat, my boots clicking against the polished oak floors. The invitation had called it a sanctuary for the romantic soul, but all I saw were the towering bookshelves, the crackling fireplace, and him. Liam Blackthorne stood at the front of the room, his broad shoulders framed by floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked the Adirondack Mountains. His charcoal sweater clung to his frame in a way that felt unfairly distracting, and his voice, low, sandpaper rough, sliced through the murmuring crowd. "Romance isn't about fluttery hearts or stolen glances," he said, his gaze sweeping over the dozen writers clustered in velvet armchairs. "It's about conflict, about two people who'd rather set the world on fire than admit they're perfect for each other." My nails dug into my palms, perfect for each other. The phrase made my stomach twist. I'd signed up for this course to escape the corporate drudgery of writing toothpaste commercials, not to be lectured by a man who looked like he'd stepped out of one of his own best-selling novels. As I glanced around the room, I noticed the other writers, each with their own unique story to tell. There was Emma, a young and aspiring author with a wild mane of curly hair, and Jack, a seasoned writer with a gruff demeanor and a penchant for whiskey. "Miss Hart," Liam's voice snapped me back to the present. The room had gone quiet. "Your bio said you're here to reignite your passion for storytelling. Care to share what that means?" All eyes turned to me. I straightened, forcing a smile. "It means I'm tired of writing about minty freshness. I want to write something real, something that aches." His brows lifted. "Aches?" Yeah, I held his stare, my pulse thrumming. "The kind of story that keeps you up at night. The kind that hurts." A faint smirk tugged at his lips. "Then you've come to the right place." The retreat's rules were simple: write by day, workshop by night. But Liam's critiques were merciless. He dissected my characters like a surgeon, calling my protagonist a cardboard cutout with a thesaurus and my love interest about as compelling as a wet sock. By day 3, I'd stormed out of the library twice, only to find him waiting for me on the porch each time, a steaming mug of chai in hand. "You're not here to be coddled," he'd say, his voice softening. "You're here to bleed onto the page." As I sat on the porch, sipping the warm tea, I couldn't help but notice the way the sunlight danced through Liam's hair, highlighting the subtle waves and curls. It was a small moment, but it was enough to make my heart skip a beat. And then the storm hit. Rain lashed the windows as the power failed, stranding us in the dim glow of hurricane lamps. Liam declared an impromptu exercise: write a scene where your characters are trapped together. No dialogue, just sensation. My pen trembled as I described the way my heroine noticed the scar on her rival's jaw, the way her breath fogged the cold glass between them. Across the room, Liam's eyes burned into me, his own notebook abandoned. "Read it aloud," he said suddenly. "What, you heard me." The room held its breath as I stood. My voice shook as I recited the lines, the words thickening the air like smoke. When I finished, no one spoke. Then Liam rose, his chair scraping, everyone out. The writers scattered. The door clicked shut. And suddenly it was just us, the fire, the rain, and the electric silence. "You're holding back," he said, stepping closer. "Why, I'm not, you are." His fingers brushed the back of my hand, sending a jolt up my arm. "You write like someone who's never been kissed like they mean it." My breath hitched. "And you're the expert." His thumb grazed my wrist. "Maybe." I felt a shiver run down my spine as he touched me, his eyes locked on mine. The next morning, he assigned pairs for the final project. "You're with me," Liam said, tossing a leather-bound notebook onto my desk. His jaw was tight, his usual composure frayed. "We're rewriting your love scene." We worked in the attic, knees brushing beneath a crooked desk. His feedback was razor-sharp, his hands gesturing wildly as he paced. But when I finally snapped, "Why do you even care?" he went still. "Because I've read every draft you've left in the library trash can," he said quietly. "Because your words are the first thing I look for in the mornings." The confession hung between us, raw and shaking. Then his fingers tangled in my hair, his lips a breath from mine. "Tell me to stop." I didn't. But as the first snow began to fall outside, a knock shattered the moment. The retreat director stood in the doorway, her expression grim. "Liam, we need to talk. It's about your contract." He pulled away, his face ashen. "Don't," he whispered, but she handed him a letter anyway. I caught the words "breach of ethics" and "student-teacher relationship" before he crumpled it. "Wait," I reached for him, but he was already gone, the door slamming behind him. I stood there, frozen, as the snow continued to fall outside, each flake a reminder of the fragile beauty of our moment and the uncertainty that lay ahead. As I turned to leave, I noticed a piece of paper on the floor, a fragment of a sentence scribbled on it. "The heart is a canvas, waiting to be splattered with color." It was Liam's handwriting, and it was enough to make me smile, to make me feel a sense of hope in the midst of chaos. I tucked the paper into my pocket, a small token of our time together, and made my way back to my room, the sound of the snow falling outside a gentle reminder of the beauty and the pain that we had shared.